Hi everyone, welcome back to Africa Budget Pellet Gunner, and I come back to you today with some very good news. Super happy with how this rifle here turned out, and I'm going to share some of the details with you. So you'll remember from part one of this series, we basically did a test to see how consistent our feet per second were, and although we didn't have a very big standard deviation in between shots, which was around about 3.4, the standard deviation or feet per second difference between shots, but we had a very big extreme spread of almost 100 feet per second, and we kind of saw how that graph went all the way down, and that's not what we want. So we said that we're going to do some changes to the gun, and I'm going to take you through that now, but we also definitely needed to retest again after those changes, and I've got the results here in front of me and definitely looks very good. So let's get into it. So before we get too deep into this, I just want to say thank you to all of you that have been supporting my channel for such a long time. I really appreciate it. If you get something out of this video, if it brings value to you, please hit that like button down below. And if I've earned your subscription, please make sure that you subscribe, that you don't miss any of the content coming up. I also do have a membership on my channel, as well as the option that you can donate some funds towards the channel. I am only on my own doing this channel. I don't have any sponsorships on the channel per se, so if you would like to contribute to the channel in some way, the PayPal link will be in the description below. Alright, so let's see what we got up to. So I'm going to show you the graphs as well here on the screen, but basically we did some work on the gun. The things that we did was we changed the transfer port, and I'm going to leave at the end of the video, I'm going to leave you a portion how you can change your transfer port and how you can do it a DIY version so that you do not have to go and spend money. So definitely that's a nice option for you. I'll leave that at the end of this video. But we did change the transfer port. We changed it from a 3.5mm to a 3mm transfer port. The other thing that we did was we took out the hammer, polished up the hammer very nicely, just so that it's nice and smooth and we get a consistent movement of that hammer, and just a little bit of lubrication to help it move inside. That's the second thing we did. The third thing that I've done is, in the background, I've been doing a little bit of pellet testing as well, and I wasn't too happy with the very long barrel. So the previous barrel was 500mm barrel. This one is around about 350mm, so a little bit shorter. So we will lose a little bit of FPS, but definitely the accuracy out of this barrel with the pellets that I've got seems to be a little bit better. So I've also put the short barrel on here. So that's basically all that I've done to the rifle. Not a massive amount of work, but definitely you'll see the results are very impressive. So let's start off with the standard deviation. So the standard deviation in our first test was around about 3.7 feet per second difference between shots. The standard deviation now on the second test is 3.29, so definitely that came down, but more importantly than that, the extreme spread came down a lot. So the extreme spread came down from almost 100 feet per second to just over 30 feet per second, and definitely you'll see when I show you the graph exactly how that looks. So let me show you the graph. So if you look here at the graph, you can see a much more consistent feet per second all the way across, and I've done this graph for 40 shots. However, our consistent shots is more about 45, so definitely we've even got a couple of spare shots that we can use as well, but the target for this Benchrest challenge was 40, so definitely we've got 40 very nice consistent shots, and even where it does drop off a little bit, it's predictable, so you can be able to tell and see where that drop off is, but that drop off is very small, so you should not see it make a big difference at 25 meters. But most importantly, you see that shot for shot, it's very consistent with the standard deviation of only 3.29 feet per second. So I'm super happy with that, and yeah, what more can I say? If you can be able to get this, definitely, then we've got no excuse in terms of our performance, or at least the performance of the rifle, when we get out to that Benchrest competition. So thank you for those of you that's stayed on until this point. And what I'm going to be showing you now is how you can change your little transfer port at home. And very simple. It might not last forever, but definitely it will last you a good few years or a couple of thousand shots. And it's something that you can do in your own home. So stay tuned if you still want to watch that. Till next time, guys, happy shooting. See you around. Alright, so let's do the transfer port. So you'll remember that I mentioned we want to reduce this transfer port to 3mm instead of the standard 3.5mm. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I've had one machined for me to a 3mm, so basically a new transfer port, but not everyone is going to have access to have it machined. So I thought, let me show you a way that you can take your current 3.5mm transfer port and turn it into a 3mm transfer port. So what you're going to need, you need some bicarbonate of soda and some super glue. Then we'll do a little bit of sanding and drilling afterwards, but I'll show you that. So to start off with, bicarbonate of soda, and we're just going to fill this hole. Make sure you've got a piece of paper underneath it. This is just so that you don't mess on whatever you're busy with, and that piece of paper is actually going to get stuck onto the bottom, but we'll just sand that off afterwards. So what you want to do, I'm going to try to do this so that you can see. We're going to just pour a little bit of this bicarbonate soda into the hole. Let me see if I can just show you what it looks like. So they're inside the hole. Alright, then this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to work out just fine. Oopsie, yeah, I moved it. Okay, let's start again. Alright, so okay, this one probably a little bit much, but let's see how we go. So what you can do, you just take super glue and just put a drop in there and let that mix with that bicarbonate soda. It's going to soak it all up, but that bicarbonate soda together with the super glue ends up being a super tough, you can see. Alright, so let's flip it around. There we go. That's better. So it ends up being super tough and easy to work on, so you'll be able to drill into it. You want to just make it a little drop. There we go. Drop it in there, give it a couple of seconds, let it just harden together with that bicarbonate of soda, and then we're going to carry on doing this until we've filled up that whole cavity inside there, and then I'm going to show you the next step. Alright, so you'll see, giving it a little bit of chance to dry, that's what it looks like now. Kind of looks like wet super glue. So next step, we're just going to make it flat again. So just take your sanding block, and you'll see when you sand this, it actually just goes like a white color. You can see, just sanded it up to the little brass piece, just like that. clean it out a bit here. Okay, and then we do the same on the opposite side. So this is not super hard, but it's hard enough that it will be able to handle a bit of pressure. Alright, then you can see the other side. If you happen to get some super glue here where the O-ring sits, you can just take a knife or something and just clean it out. It should come out fairly easily. Alright, so that's where we're sitting now. So we've sanded down one side and the other side. Now next step, what you're going to want is kind of a little like a chamfer bit like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to put this in here and we're going to chamfer it up until it starts to touch the brass here on the outside. And then we're going to do the same on both sides, and that's going to give us a nice centered hole in order to come in with the 3mm bit. So I'm going to do this here at the dining room table just to show you that you don't need any fancy tools to do this. You can basically just put it down. So you'll see there I'm a little bit off. So what's going to happen? As the chamfer starts to catch, against the steel, it will automatically start to push it across. You can see. And can do the same on the other side. Obviously, if you've got a vise, you can put this in the vise. It will be a little bit easier in the vise. But I just wanted to show you that it is possible to do it with minimal tools. There you can see, nicely chamfered. Right, so far so good. You can see there, and there's the other side, just like that. Then what next we're going to do, so what we've got now, we've got a nice hole that's going right through the middle. Just put this. So this is a 3mm bit, and just going to hold it and go nice and slow. And what you want to do is you want to come from both sides. So that we can meet up in the middle. Be careful you don't drill into your finger. I'm just going to put this down that I can put a bit more pressure on it. Okay, almost through. there you have it. Nice and simple. You can see the hole all the way through. And you can see that nice little white layer on the outside. That's our super glue. And it's nice and hard now, together with that bicarbonate of soda. And that's how simple it is. That's going to last a very long time. If you feel like it's you don't trust it completely, what you can do, you can just take it and put another drop in there, just so that you line it again with another layer of super glue, and just give it a chance to dry. Alright, and that's all there is to it. Easy as can be. So now what we've done is we've changed this from a 3.5 to a 3mm transfer port. Now we just need to fit it into the gun. It's easy as it goes. Alright.